Barry, welcome back to Raith TV. How are you?
Yes, good. Very good. Good week's training.
Yeah, I mean, is it a different week knowing that it's a cup game and a cup game of this size on Saturday instead of the league, or does it try and keep things as normal as possible for the players?
Well, we try to keep things as normal as we can. I'm still trying to get a lot of information into them regarding how we want to do things. And then you get a game of this magnitude where you've probably got to work on some more probably defensive side of things than you would if you were playing against a team in their own division. So we've tried to focus a good bit on that this week. We've worked on a few different things to see how we look as a team, and get ready for the challenge.
You mentioned last week during sort of press that you didn't want to talk about the Celtic game or anything like that because there was obviously games before that. How difficult is it when the draw is made and there is a game of that magnitude to try and put that to the back of everyone's mind and leave it till this week for the big focus to be on?
It probably does all stick in some players' minds. Some players are going to get an opportunity of a lifetime that they'll never play at a stadium or a pitch or a club or a crowd that size. So I understand that and I get that, and obviously the financial benefits the football club's going to get. So that performance against Falkirk, it was outstanding, came with a lot of prize on top. So we knew it was important. So yeah, it's a really difficult game. We all understand that. We understand. We just saw what they done to Dundee, who are a really good side last night, and they can do it quite regular to teams. So we understand that. We understand that side of it, but we need to go there and we need to be brave with the ball. We need to be brave against the ball. We need to try and get after them as much as we can at certain points and certain stages, and go and fight and run for the club, and that's what we'll do.
You've been there as a player. On both sides of it. You know, from your own perspective, can you remember going up against Celtic, what it was like for yourself, some of the first times going into Celtic Park as a player, and how you managed that game, and if you've had to impart any of that knowledge and experience onto some of the lads this week?
Well, I suppose I've went there and I've taken a good beating, and I've actually played there and given a good beating, so I understand. It's a big pitch, it's a daunting place to play, but what I've said to the players is you've got to believe you're good players. It's 11v11, we get a good structure in us, and we fight for every ball, we fight for every challenge, we fight for everything, and we see where that takes us, and they'll be amazed how well they can do.
We've got a good mix of experience in this team, where you've got the likes of Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson who have played there just last season. We've also got a few players in that Raith squad who've been in and around bigger games like this, but then we've also got the younger lads and some players who have never played at this level. So when it comes down to that element, how important is it that we have the voices on the pitch giving out instructions and keeping everybody going in the right direction?
Well, it is extremely important. But you also need to remember to enjoy it. It's a game for them to go and play at a great stadium. But I don't want it to be about that. I want us to. My message to my players is, I want you to go and fight. I want you to go and really try hard in the game to try and get a result and believe and be positive. That's what I want. Listen, I know it's difficult. I get that. So I just want them to go out there and try and enjoy the game and give it everything you've got.
Is this an opportunity for some of the players who are, at the earlier stages of their careers to look at where they could end up being and look at what they could be playing in, and some of the players that they're playing against, what their careers could look like? Yeah,
it's a different level. It's a whole new level. What they'll see, and the speed and the skill of these players, they're terrific footballers. They work so hard. I don't think the teams get credit that Celtic. I mean, watching the other night against Dundee, the counter pressure was phenomenal. The best teams always are. You can see Brendan's style. You can see the counter pressure is really hard. If you win the ball back against them, to take it back off you again, it's really difficult. So all the problems and even as a manager, you can fix a couple of problems, but they'll create other ones. But that's football for you, and as I said, it's a game that every day the club have a good wee run in the cup. We've made a real good bit of money, but let's go and try and have a go as much as we can, and get the players running and fighting and believing, and see where we can take it.
You've been there as a Celtic player yourself. You talk about the mentality that these Celtic players have and the sort of pressure that are put on their shoulders. When you look at Celtic just now, they've got the league title trying to get, they're on course for a treble, and then they have also Europe as well. They don't want to lose anything, but does that add extra pressure on a Celtic player's shoulders? There's a constant need to not lose or not slip up.
Being a Celtic player, I was lucky enough to be one. It's constant pressure. You've got if you can't handle the pressure playing for the club, you'll find out pretty quickly. There's a lot of players there at the minute can handle the pressure playing at that football club, as you can see in their performances. So yeah, and I think you see I think when Brendan first came in, I think as it's evolved, you can see a Brendan Rodgers team. They look electric just now. So yeah, I mean, Brendan's bucket loads of experience being a Celtic manager, and I think there's a lot of the players in there now who've been there a while as well. Well, there's some new ones as well, Brendan, but they look like they can cope with playing with Celtic.
You're speaking about Brendan Rodgers there. From your own point of view as well, as a manager coming up against the likes of Brendan Rodgers, is this a great experience for you to get that opportunity to be in that position? You've been there with Aberdeen as well, but with a different team, with a different challenge. Yeah,
I think even when I was a coach, a first team coach with Derek McInnes, in Brendan's first time round, we were down a lot. It was always the competition between Derek and Brendan, and then obviously when I was manager at Aberdeen, we come up against Brendan a few times. Obviously it was Ange Postecoglou a couple of times as well. So listen, he's a terrific manager, terrific coach. He's always been he's been brilliant with myself or whenever my staff or whoever been there. Yeah, a top coach who's doing a terrific job.
There'll be over 2,000 Raith Rovers fans making their way through from Kirkcaldy through to Glasgow. We know the challenge that we're up against, no one needs to remind us, but we'll still be there full in voice, taking over breweries in Glasgow and trying to really get the party atmosphere going. With it being a 5:30 kick-off as well, it really makes that difference. It's a great time for Raith Rovers supporters as well as the players going there for the first time. There'll be supporters that have never been to Parkhead before and seen a crowd like that as well. What's the message to these supporters, to ourselves that are heading through?
Just go and enjoy it. I think we've worked hard to get in the position to go and play in this game, and go and enjoy the stadium, the players. Enjoy watching the Celtic players because they are real top quality, and they give us plenty of voice. And we will try in everything we've got. We need to be absolutely on point with everything, bang to the money to get any sort of result in the game, and we all know that. But we're going to go fighting, and we're glad that they're all going to be there to back us up because we'll need them.
Brilliant. Well, all the very best.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Cheers.